What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out one that's actually fresh and hot off the indie skillet. Today we're going to be taking a look at Before the Last Hour. Before the Last Hour is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi role-playing game with a semi-open world. It's all procedurally generated. It's kind of open-ish. But anyways, the ultimate point of this game is that you are a wanderer in the apocalypse. I haven't really been able to derive what the story is as of right now. Like, characters have made kind of vague Dark Souls-like allusions to what's going on, but nothing has really been made concrete in the hour or two that I've spent with the game so far. But ultimately, it's got aspects of a tactical card battler. It's got kind of a combo-based system. It's got RPG elements in there, like equipment and stats. And it's an interesting, intriguing game, if not only for the idea that the game appears to be rotoscoped from what I've seen so far. If you don't know what rotoscoping is, it was used for old Disney movies, and it's basically where they capture an actor doing like a certain activity. And then after that, they use a rotoscope machine for the artist to trace over the movements of the actor, and it leads to a big sense of fluidity, and so that's what this game has got going on. If it's not rotoscoped, their animator is very, very good, because it almost appears to be rotoscoped. And if it is rotoscoped, then the closest thing that I'll compare it to, one of the games that was super famous somewhat recently for its rotoscoping was the Banner Saga. That's why everything looks so fluid and natural in the Banner Saga, is because that entire game was rotoscoped. And so anyways, we're going to dive on in today. We're going to spend about 30 minutes with the game and show it off. And if it's something that you wanted to get for yourself, the game is out in early access right now. I'll have that for you down in the description next to my Discord and my Twitch link, just in case you wanted to hang out live. I will have some thoughts for you at the end of the video of just like things that I have observed while spending time with the game. I do think that this is a pretty rough early access, and I'll talk about why that is at the end of the video. However, there is a lot of promising stuff here too, which is ultimately why I decided to sideline my dislike of card games and, of course, of kind of weird bugginess and whatnot in order to show it off. But I do want to point that stuff out, so before you spend your money, make sure you watch the end of the video. Let's start a new game. At the beginning, you pick what your character looks like. There's a dude, there's a lady, it doesn't matter. You can pick either one you want. It has no effect on the gameplay whatsoever. You also get to pick a starting boon, which is basically like your character's background, like their job. You can be an investigator. The investigator has +2 to fate. Fate, this game is really complicated. It's easier for me to explain what this is on the run, but basically it allows you to rearrange your opponent's turn in combat so that you can mess with their combos and make them fall flat, basically. You also, every time you do a quest, you lose hazard level. We'll talk about what that is in just a minute. They start out with a organic camouflage, which reduces the enemy's fury during the turn that it's activated. And then he's also got an extra weapon card, which matters for, like, combos. This game is a deck battler, but it didn't really feel like a deck battler to me. I think that's the other reason why it didn't really bother me that it was a card game, is because, like, just like Beneath Oresa, it's got a twist that's good enough to make up for the fact that it's a card game for me. And honestly, the deck building aspects don't appear to be that important by comparison to like the loot scooping and the equipping your character and like really smart combo building. And so I think that's why it worked too. We can be an explorer. Apparently this guy has the ability to see further when flying around the wasteland. And at the beginning of the adventure, all merchants and adventures appear to be revealed to him. And then starts with a weapon card. Over here, you can play as the fighter who gets just like bonus strength or damage. I'm not really sure what that icon is. Definitely should be tooltipped right here so that the player can figure that out. And then +50 max health. And then also starts out with heavy duty war armor, which adds just flat mitigation to enemy attacks. And also another attack card. So it's really up to you what you wanted to go for. I kind of like the idea of the Explorer, so we're going to do that. And let's dive on into the game. The first thing that you are going to notice once we start the game off is that the animation is very much pushed to the forefront of this game. Like, they're leaning on their strong point, and their strong point is that this game is fantastically well animated. If I had to describe the art style, it's somewhere in between heavy metal and, like, Jean Giraud, I guess is the best way that I would describe it. Like somewhere in between heavy metal and Mobius, basically. And so, honestly, pretty interesting stuff going on. This is the world map. You can move around on hexes. Every time you move, this number at the top of the screen goes down. When it gets down to 0, a giant smoke monster a la Lost shows up and starts hunting you. I've killed it a couple times, and it doesn't really seem to be that big of a threat, so I don't even worry about it. I just explore and take my time. Next to that, there is also loot quality. So based on events that you go through, your loot quality will go up and down. This is a flat modifier that is added on to every single looting event on the map as you increase it or decrease it. And so you really want to get this number up. This right here is the risk level. The risk level makes all enemies stronger, so sometimes various activities you do will raise or lower the risk level temporarily, basically. Like, it doesn't fall off or grow on its own, but events will move it up and down naturally as you're playing the game. This is a list of all the things on the map that we could potentially get after. There's quests, there's adventures, it looks like there's events, there's curiosities, there's a boss, and there's 3 natural fights just kind of sitting around. Other things you need to know down here in the bottom right, this is the universe's most complicated wallet. That's literally what this is. This is how much money we have. Apparently we use time as a currency in this game. They call it chrono. And I think we actually do use time as a currency because when you stop at an event in order to like loot and whatnot, it costs you money to do so. And so I think like time is both a currency and also part of the space-time continuum in this game, so it's like a naturally occurring phenomena, but it's also your money. It's kind of weird and eclectic and hard to describe. Bottom left, we've got our inventory. This is our inventory menu right here. We don't really have any equipment. We'll want to do something about that before too long, because equipment in this game is really, really good. We also have a list of all of our stats. Everything is tool-tipped over here, full marks. Same thing on this side. It'll tell you basically all of your actions in combat. Your actions are your quote-unquote, like, air quote cards, I guess. But it's also, like, not really. It's kind of hard to describe. You'll see what I mean once we get into a fight. But for right now, we need to tool around the map. Now, you may notice that I'm using edge scrolling. That's because I have, like, a weird bug where my WASD isn't working. Like, the S is working and the D is working to move the camera, but my W and my A are not working. Q will work as an A, but I tried like other keys to see how to make it go like up, and honestly, I can't find it. And if you go to the options, there is no option to kind of check the keybinds and make sure something's not screwed up. What I can say is, for the hour and a half that I was playing prior to this video, my WASD was working perfectly fine. And then once I started recording and I started playing, it stopped working at some point arbitrarily. So if you see me using edge scrolling and it's driving you crazy, it's for whatever reason, my keys have just functionally stopped working inside this game. And I can't exactly tell you why. And in fact, it tripped me out so much that I actually went to my OS while I started the first take on this game, and I started typing stuff into Notepad to be like, did my keyboard just die on me? Like, it was that sudden. And so anyways, I want to go check out these storage crates down here. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go look at these storage crates and see what they got going on. You discover a damaged old defense plate half embedded in the ground. We can spend 55 time in order to get it, or we can try to get the defense plate back by trading one of our fate. I only have 2 fate. You can generate fate with certain combos in combat, so I'm going to go with that one. You try hard to dig up the plate, but it is deeply buried, and when you finally manage to get it out, it shatters in your hands. The object was probably there long before the warp. You have wasted precious time only to get nothing out of it. Well, I mean, we got, like, +1 defense, didn't we? Yeah, we got +1 defense, so, like, we didn't get nothing out of it. Like, we effectively flatly reduced the enemy's damage for the rest of the game, which, to me, seems like a really good idea. All right, shipping crates, what you got? You are near a makeshift health center. It seems to be safe enough for you to rest. We can search it. That'll raise our loot quality. We can explore it. That will cost us some health, and it will raise our risk level. For the life of me, I don't know why you would do that. I don't know exactly why you would do that. They probably explained it in the tutorial why you would want your risk level higher. And I'm probably forgetting right now. There may be some benefit that comes from your risk modifier getting higher too. There we go. So it says on the loot quality. It also increases when you gain risk factor. But I'll just take the search. So we got +1 loot quality, but we lost 18 times, so that kind of sucks. Let's go down this way. It looks like there's a fight. A dark and menacing force is escaping from this place, jealously guarding a pile of treasure. It grabs you, and you soon realize that you cannot escape its influence. So I could make an offering to calm it down and get a bunch of loot quality. I can fight him, which will give me 1 loot, but I'll lose basically half my health. That's a little bit risky. Or we could do nothing. Let's fight him, dude. Let's do it. In rage, you destroy the place. In response, the dark energy lashes out and attacks you. You get away with injuries, but at least you didn't let it get to you, and you even took the opportunity to steal a treasure. As you can see, sometimes things are untranslated in this game. Apparently, I lost 114 health, but I gained 7 health, so huzzah for me, I suppose. You found the body of a grave robber. His bag seems to contain some of his finds. I am going to take a rest here to get the 44 health back. Unfortunately, that has advanced the smoke monster a little bit, so we'll have to watch out for that. The boss is down there, so it looks like we've taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque if we wanted to find more secrets and treasures and stuff. And I do actually want to, like, complete the map before we go. That thing looks awesome. I have no idea what it is, but the art for it is rad, and I want it. Let's go over here, and we'll take this fight so you guys can see what combat looks and feels like inside the context of Before the Last Hour. Okay, so it's like some random bandit over here. Gotcha. Well, I'm going to smoke him out. It would be cool if he had, like, a name above him, like what he is. It was like, you versus whatever. But this is the combat system. So things you need to know about in combat. You've got your health over here in the bottom left. You've got the enemy's health over here in the bottom right. This is the number of rerolls we have. At any time, you can basically right-click any of these actions, and these actions will recycle with a different action. As of right now, this is the damage we will deal when we click the execute button, which has not appeared yet. This is for using consumables like firing a gun that's in your inventory or throwing a grenade or injecting yourself with like a stim injector or whatever. This right here basically summarizes everything that you've got going on. This is the enemy's damage synopsis, and this is his combo track, basically. So the game functions based on combos. So we'll go back to him after I show you how a combo works. So whenever you mouse over one of these actions, this is a defend action. It gives us +2 defense. If we slot that in, you'll see that the enemy's damage goes down because we just gained 2 defense for the turn. But it says combo strength. That means that if you follow this card with anything that has a combo in it, or has the same name, we put in strength right there, we generate 1 fate. And so we'll get an extra fate point. And then this one combos into Pierce, which we don't actually have right now. And so, unfortunately, that's not really going to help us out altogether that much. We got kind of a bad hand, and so one thing that you could do is you could slot that in, and it would also get the benefit of that combo. So now we're getting 2 fade out. We're not dealing that much more damage, but we are mitigating a lot of the opponent's damage, and then we're also gaining what is kind of a rare resource in gathering insight. Sorry, I've been calling it fate. Insight. Now, what do you use insight for? Insight is used to mess with this guy's combo. It's basically you breaking reality and messing with his fate in order to, like, stop him from dealing good damage. So if you take a look over here, he's got Thunderblade. Thunderblade combos with speed, and it combos with weapon. This guy right here combos with defend, and this guy combos with speed. So honestly, one of the best things we could do would be to omit that right there, and there you go. Now he's only dealing 10 damage on his turn. We have successfully sort of blunted his assault, so let's go ahead and activate. The animation in this game is utterly fantastic. It's a really good-looking game, and there's lots of little details. So you see how our character threw up his arm right there and blocked the enemy with a shield? That actually doesn't happen every time. That happens specifically on a trigger in the coding when you reduce the enemy's damage by more than a certain percentage, basically. If I had not reduced that guy's damage, our character would have flinched and fallen back and blood would have splashed onto the ground. Based on what attacks you do, different things will happen as well. So, like, I had an attack on my last run where your character basically pulls out a guts cannon out of his arm and fires like a giant DBZ energy blast that washes out the entire screen in explosions and smoke. There's lots of cool details in here, and hopefully we'll get to see some of them, because I do think that the visual acumen of this game is actually kind of peerless. It's a really good-looking game once you really get spinning. Now, this is a meditation card. We can't play it because you have to use magic. You see those two little pips on the side? That means that this can only be played in combination with another magic card, and it won't go off unless... So when I slot that one in right there, that activates. If I put another spell in after this, because spells are different than weapons, that one would fill in right there, and if the other spell required to, the previous one would also fill in the second one. Basically, this is the amount of spells you need in your combo for this to actually freaking work. For right now, we don't have that, but luckily we don't discard these actions at the end of our turn, so it doesn't really matter. He's got a spell right there that's giving him Fury. That combos with Speed. That combos with Pierce. It looks like the vast majority of his damage is coming out of that ability right there, so I'm going to omit it using my Insight. And then, oh yeah, he also has abilities over here. All critical actions inflict damage. And then he's also got +1 level to speed actions. That's what we didn't talk about. As you combo these cards together, they level up. That's what this little number is right here. So if you use cards in a combo, the first card in the sequence will level up and get stronger. And actually, it can lead to some absolutely devastating combos in long fights where, like, you start out dealing like 11 or 12 damage, but if a fight goes on like 1 or 2 turns too long, you can fully expect that both characters are going to start lighting off like 200 damage attacks, and it's going to become a zero-sum game. And I think that sort of represents the fact that you're both learning to eyeball each other's fighting style and you're getting better at countering it. And it also puts kind of a hard limiter on the length of like a fight, basically. So we have a speed combo right there. I feel like our best move is to do that and then throw that in right there. That's going to get us up to 49 damage. That's pretty good. And so 49 damage is pretty unbelievable. Plus, we're getting 2 insight out. So, like, this just feels like a win to me because I need more insight so that I can, like, cancel this guy's attack and basically make him stop dealing damage. All right, so what's his next combo? His next combo is 72 damage. My man, my brother in Christ. Have you thought about maybe not destroying me? I'm going to go ahead and omit that because that's got a Fury multiplier on it. Fury is basically rage that like flatly increases the damage on everything, and I'd rather not deal with it. What does that do? Oh, he's going to counterspell me? How is he counterspelling me? That must be what that little icon is right there. Yeah, it is. Okay, fair enough. So I can't use those right now. However, I do have a ready-made combo right here that I can throw out that'll give us a little bit more defense. The speed is kind of wasted. I wish that I could throw a defend on it, but that's kind of life. We need to get this guy down, like, soon because he's getting stronger. He's growing more powerful, and I am becoming terrified of him. Okay, so we do have our meditation cards. He's not running counterspell right now, so technically we could see what these do. So it looks like it gives me some fury. Or it can give me whatever that little icon is right there. I can't tell. It's too little, and so I can't tell what that icon is. There we go. The tooltip is on the little icon, but unfortunately it's still got the code that it's referencing. It's still got the reference, whatever you would call that right there. So I think that this makes us draw more cards. I think. So we're getting like +6 card draw if we play that one. Right here, we're getting a bunch of fury. Oh, number of times the final damage is repeated. Oh. Oh, I see. Okay, so basically we have 13 damage, but it's being dealt twice. I mean, I can get it up to 37 with that combo right there, and that has the additive effect of giving us a little bit more combo. It has the additive effect of giving us some insight, so that might be good. I'll probably just eliminate that right there. Let's give her a go. There you go. And so every single enemy does have a unique fatality that they go through when you kill them, in case you were wondering. Oh, cool. We got +3 to our max health. Nice. Well, at least we got some kind of reward for that fight. I mean, we did take a pretty good licking on that one. Our HP has looked better. The massive silhouette of a crashed ship in the sand and torn by shell impacts stands before you. The surrounding scenery seems devoid of interest, and you prefer to look for a way into the ship. The only access points you find are 2 breaches. One is at the back of the ship. The second is towards the bridge. Now, these decisions you make, they seem to matter. So I've noticed that, like, at the end of a level, it summarizes all the decisions you've made, and it seems to make some kind of internal rating as to whether your character is cautious or impulsive or defensive or offensive. And, like, it seems to give you bonuses based on the decisions you make during adventures and things. Let's go for the safe path. So our risk factor went down, but we didn't have any risk factors, so it doesn't really matter. You infiltrate the ship and discover that the crash has blocked off many corridors. You pass through a series of closed doors until you arrive at an entrance to a laboratory. Even though the violent landing damaged the room, you see many reports of experiments with interesting content. At the back of the room, there are metal cabinets that may have medical products. Yeah, so let's go for metal cabinets. Okay. You make your way through the rubble of the laboratory until you reach the cupboards. In no time, you break the locks. Many of the drugs are out of date or damaged. Nevertheless, among them, you find capsules of powerful painkillers, which you swallow without thinking. You can make your way out feeling the first effect of the drugs. Okay, so it added 4 to the terror track of, like, the monster chasing us. What's this building right here? You are facing an old forge, which still has some usable pieces of armor. So we can lose money and get an armor, or we can get, like, most of our HP back. Yeah, loot, bro! You take the time to adjust the task pieces to your body shape before setting off again. We got the Conquest Waiters. Redraw, a defend action, adds +3 to it for combat. So every time we defend, we'll get health back, basically. So if we use a redraw by right-clicking on one of our actions, and it comes up a defend, the defend gets +3 healing added to it. It's not terrible. It's not awesome, but it's not awful either. Let's go ahead and equip those real quick. I'm going to close off my inventory, and down here is where it looks like there are a couple of boss fights, but that's going to end the level, and I don't much want to end the level. We're going to go ahead and advance over to here. One time you can skip a tile by using this jump ability right here if you want to. And it doesn't advance the beast track when you use it either, which is like, oh, that's like good stuff right there. I'm going to go and see what this giant obelisk thing is, even though I know it's going to let the beast catch me, because I want to know. There's another fight over there. I think I have to use the jump ability to get to it, though. And then we'll be trapped on that tile for like X amount of time until it recharges. So I don't think I'm going to. Let's go over here. Oh, that tile is nothing? Okay, fair enough. I thought that tile, it's got like an observatory, dude. It's a giant ball. Like, it's got to have something cool going on. The pyramid levitates above you. Your gauntlet goes haywire as you get close, revealing that the defense system is active. The place is inaccessible for the moment. Okay, so I've got, oh, the defense systems are over here. You have entered what appears to be an old control tower. It must not have been occupied for a long time. The dust has accumulated massively, and you see no sign of occupation. You walk up an old rusty metal staircase into the main systems. Slumped in a chair, an old man dressed in rags he must have picked up during his attempts to survive stares out into the void. In front of him are control panels, which you quickly realize must be used to engage the pyramid's defense systems. You notice that they were using DNA recognition. You could use the DNA from the old Eternal or try to manipulate the defense systems itself. Let's use the DNA. You carefully cut the old man and put a drop of blood into the recognition system. For a brief moment, nothing happens. Then a computer sequences the DNA. You hope to see the defense systems go down, but alas, a red light appears, soon accompanied by an alert. DNA not recognized. Attempted intrusion into the pyramid, strengthening protection. Aw, dude. Weak. Okay. I mean, I suppose that was always an outcome that might have happened. Climbing up the steep cliffside steps, you enter an old abandoned bunker. Under your feet, you feel the cracking of broken glass. The place is a mess. Overturned shelves are littering the floor, their broken contents spread across the cold concrete. Eventually, you come to a control room where the old screen is flashing. With a little patience, you manage to decipher a few programs, one of them entitled Docking Bridge Control. You could try to deploy the bridge from here or go and examine it. Yeah, deploy it. You start the program, and we failed, unfortunately. I'm guessing that would have allowed us to go over to there. I think I have markedly screwed this opportunity to get the looties. Let's just go take another fight and see if we can get, like, a nice reward out of it. It sucks because we have no loot value now, which means that our end reward might actually be a negative, but that's life. It's a crazy, creepy-looking zombie guy. All right, and he's got, like, a shotgun with a bayonet on it. Fantastic. So he has mystical Pistolero. All weapon actions calculate gains. They get 1 extra action. The spell Elemental Ball receives a damage bonus based on its type. Okay. So he's got Fireball, and he's got what looks like a weapon attack. We're not going to be able to reduce his damage much. All that I can really do is get rid of his Confusion attack, so that what Confusion does is it makes these cards empty, so you can't see what they do. That's pretty much it. It just makes the card have a blank face, and you've just got to like either re-roll it or play it as it lies. I think I'd like to go for... I don't have any defends, do I? Weak sauce, brother. Weak sauce. We can combo into a Pierce, and then we can combo into a Speed, I suppose. That'll give us Handicap. As of right now, I don't know exactly what Handicap does. I've had Handicap used on me, and it puts a broken bone down here where the listing of the description is. So I think it makes it so that you can still play a card to get the combo benefits, but it negates what the card does itself. But I can't say that with any sense of finality. Like, I can only speculate what it does due to the tooltip being missing. Ow. That's fine. How would you like to taste my attack? How would you feel about that? Okay, yeah, you're gonna shoot me. All right, fair enough. He has another Fireball. Yeah, this is gonna be a painful turn. I'm gonna hate every moment of it. All right, let's go for... So we've got a Piercing attack. That goes into Defend. I don't have any Defends. I would like to have a Defend. So I'm gonna try and get a Defend. I did not get a Defend. My life is a worthless, terrible husk. We didn't even really reduce his damage by that much, unfortunately. Even though we put up... Oh, that's 8 piercing. Never mind. So we're negating his defense, not setting up our own. All right. We may be able to finish him right here. It kind of depends. We've got a level 4 Pierce. Oh, yeah, there's our... let's get rid of Meditation real fast. Oh, I don't have any rerolls left. Rip. Okay. Well, that combos with Defend, so let's put that out. That gives us 2 more rerolls, and I don't think we're killing him on this turn. The other option we can go for is that combos with Speed. And that also combos with Speed. Oh, that gives us 51 damage. Rip. Goodbye, bad guy. Oh, no, dude. My loot was weak. We lost time. So we got +5, but we lost 10. Yeah, that's why you want your loot modifier to be as high as possible, is because at the lowest level, you actually get a Malice. It makes your loot flatly worse. The barbed wire ramparts surrounding the compound have been subjected to heavy assaults. Inside the military installation, shell craters, charred corpses, and battle scars cover the ground and walls. An abysmal hole serving as an underground hangar draws you in. The damaged building with antennas and satellite dishes on top also arouses your curiosity. Okay, let's take the safe path. You venture into the complex and notice that the doors are much higher than they would be for humans. Behind barricades, you come across corpses torn apart by claws with skulls blown apart by precise fire. In the main room, a computer lets you know that it's connected to a creature, but that it has escaped its control. You could use this opportunity to use the creature or free it. Free the creature? Among the programs available, one of them allows you to free it. By looking at the computer's settings, you realize that it is a creature controlled to serve as an ally. This program allows you to give it orders and send it into battle. When you deactivate it, it transfers itself into your gauntlet. Fearing a virus, you discover instead that the program has taken care to improve your shooting abilities. Oh, cool. So it blocked the beast for 10 turns, right when we were about to get attacked by the beast. Hell yeah, Bruta. I don't really know if I want to jump over there or not. Like, there's a fight over there, but we're kind of like Scuffy Boyd right now. Like, we don't look or feel great. It doesn't look like there's anything up that way. But we are missing, like, a number of events. So I'm kind of wondering if these over here are things that I can has, but I don't know. I'm going to go check it out, just to be sure, because sometimes it's worth it to jump to these little islands. I do think we're probably going to have to deal with the beast. Yeah, there we go. So we can take a safe rest right here. So there's an alchemist workshop on this side. We could get a free consumable, we can explore, or we can take a safe rest. I need some health, so that's what I'm going to do. However, we are being hunted right now. There's not really anywhere for me to go, unfortunately. So I just had to, like, bypass turns until I could jump again, unfortunately. The beast is in front of us, though, and he is coming, and he is hangry. So we'll want to be careful about this stuff. Let's head back. Oh, yeah, he's, like, right in the way. All right, apparently we're squaring off with the beast. That's fine. I don't care about you, beast. You see the size of my sword? I don't care. Dude, you're, like, not even terrifying compared to a guy with a double shotgun bayonet fireball thrower. I'm not worried about you. Apparently, he's mythic. So he gets +1 something in the first round. I don't know what he gets +1 of, okay? He gets +1 of something, but I can't tell you exactly what it is. I think it's draw. And then over here, unavoidable. Every time you fight him, he gets a little stronger. And then +1 damage per power. Ah, so that's where this goes wrong. That gives him double attack, so we're flatly getting rid of that. We're just not going to deal with that at all. I don't have any defense. I don't want the meditation. Okay. I would like to get a whole bunch of insight lined up, so let's go just hit him for the 33 damage. That'll give us a little bit more fate to play around with, too, so that I can cancel his turns. As of right now, he's not really that big of a threat. In fact, we're about to, like, 2TK him, so I think it'll be okay. We'll go defense, strength, into pierce, and that'll give us the 24 that we need in order to drop this guy. No, dude, he went first, and then he burped on me. That's just flatly rude, man. That's just, I don't care where you're from. That's just poor manners. He didn't even attack. He just walked up and belched on my face because he knew he was going down for the disrespect. Disappointing, monster. You've made me upset. A little bit of a graphical display issue right there where it moved our character without playing the animation, then went back and played the animation. But yeah, let me give you some of my thoughts about before the last hour, because I do have thoughts about this game. So starting with the good, the animation style is, I don't even know another word to put. It's peerless, it's gorgeous, it looks great, it's fantastic. Both the main character and the enemies you run up against, they look fantastic, they look great, there's nothing to complain about there. And this is accentuated by pretty good enemy variety. You don't really see too many repeats on a given map. The soundtracking and audio effects, also done very, very well. It's an incredibly satisfying game to play when it comes to feedback that you get from executing actions. The translation, I think, appears to be a work in progress because the main storyline elements and the events are translated quite well. They're fine, perfectly okay. However, in some cases, such as tooltips or the after-battle synopsis, the commentary can either be like untranslated entirely or confusingly terse, so I'm guessing that's not totally done yet in the early access. It seems like it's kind of like 90 to 95% done, but there's still some areas that are kind of like untouched. Obviously, they need to get the code references fixed on some of the tooltips, and I think some bug existed for me with the WASD controls for camera movement on the world map since mine just spontaneously stopped working. I tried. I reinstalled, I checked the files and verified their integrity. Just couldn't seem to get it fixed, but that's one of those things that, like, I'd be able to look and identify quickly if the game actually had access to rekey bindable controls, but it don't. So I was just kind of stuck using edge scrolling here today, but that kind of is what it is. I think the biggest thing for me right now, though, is that the game isn't balanced. Some of the bosses and enemies have abilities that will allow them to, like, perma-stun lock you or heavily punish the usage of, like, 60% of your deck simultaneously, and there'll be, like, no obvious counter in the latter case because it's just an ability that's attached to the character. Or, in the case of the former, you can really only stop the process of being perma-stunlocked by using up your insight points and hoping that every combo you throw out there generates more and that RNG doesn't really stick a thumb in you. I'll be keeping an eye on this one, but I don't think I'll put a huge amount of time into it until they've had a few balance and polish passes. Yes, the artwork is fantastic. The battles are compelling and original and unique with the combo system. The sound is great, but this is definitely a game that is on the first steps into its early access. There's like a lot of rough edges here, but the amount of care and detail that they put into the presentation makes me hope that they'll continue applying that same attention to detail when it comes to polishing up and getting the game ready for a 1.0 release. And credit where credit is due, the developers actually published a roadmap on the day that the game went live saying specifically that. They said, hey, we have this game for the month of May into like July or whatever. I'm trying to recall the roadmap right now, but the roadmap they put out, like the first thing on the roadmap was like, hey, we need to polish. We know we have a lot of bugs. We know there's a lot of stuff that's unbalanced, and we've opened up a GitHub basically so that people that bought into the early access could basically report those bugs and report those imbalances and talk about them and help us get the game into ship shape. So fair enough. I feel like if I'm going to, talk about the things I just talked about and have like some little criticisms and whatnot, it's only fair to also mention that the developers have explicitly mentioned that on a roadmap that's linked on Steam right now to prospective buyers. So credit where credit is due. They are aware of the fact that those things exist inside the game. Still, the game is up for sale right now, which means they're charging money for this product, and so people need to be aware of the things that may or may not be wrong with it. For now, I'll probably bench the game and just kind of keep it on my back roster because I think it will go promising places just from the care and detail to the art style, but there's no way to know until it gets there. For me, really, the largest thing is just the balancing. On the runs that I did, there was definitely stuff that was like, man, that's kind of like out of pocket, and I don't want to dump a bunch of time into a game if it's going to end up wiping me out with something that's kind of like overtuned or undertuned, and so I'll probably wait for some balance and polish passes before I give it another go, but I am intrigued. I like the combo system, and I like the artwork, and so I want to see what happens. We may have like another, Grifflins on our hands here when it comes to like beautifully embellished kind of card type games. But there you go. You've been appraised. Hopefully I did an okay job. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today was before the last hour. Tomorrow will be something else. Thanks for hanging out with me, and it's time for me to go.